So this is the radio, and I believe this is the SE version, nothing fancy about it, and this is pretty much what you get. Now, it's not too terrible looking, everything's all integrated and kind of looks very well, but the issue with it is that it has no Bluetooth navigation or anything like that, and typically you kind of have to fiddle-faddle with your phone, mount it up here, use an adapter just like this for the audio port just to really get those features. Now, it is amazing how technology has changed in the sense that there are companies that have come up with navigation touchscreen that just integrates into this. It still keeps the factory look and it makes it look like it came out the factory with a premium option. And in today's video, we're going to install a modern radio with touchscreen, navigation, Bluetooth, all that type of stuff, and give this car modern conveniences. So let's head to the bench and let's show you what we got. So this is the radio that we'll be using. I'll post information and links on the screen and links in the description if you're interested. And it's pretty nice. You get a nice screen, Android, navigation, see all that type of stuff. Retain your factory buttons right over here, easy access. So we have this for the lock, unlock switch, the hazards, the vents plug right in, along with the knobs to adjust it. And we're gonna pop this in and it's just gonna give it a nice factory premium look like it should have came from the factory or if you would have bought a higher trim model. Now we have our GPS, USB, more connectors if you want to add an amp or more audio, video out, that type of stuff. Microphone, the reverse camera, which I'm not 100% sure if we're going to use this one. Only reason is that, as you can see, it might require us potentially drilling where I don't want to drill, which might be into the body. So I like to use the ones that mount onto the license plate frame. I find them to be a lot more secure, so we'll see what the options are. I'm not sure what screws it comes with. Yeah, it just comes with these little screws. Like I said, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. And this is what I really enjoy about these kits, that a lot of these companies have made it so much better, especially this company, is that it has plug and play. No cutting, no splicing, none of that crimping type stuff. It's ready to go. Comes with the adapter for the CAN bus, which is pretty sweet because most times when you go aftermarket, this is a premium option in itself. So, I mean, you get a lot of value. It's very simple, self-explanatory, and yeah, pretty much anybody can do it. So let's go ahead, let's get inside the vehicle and let's pop this radio out. So first thing that we need to do is pop this plate out, which I'm not sure exactly how that comes out, if I'm being honest with you. I know there's two screws underneath here. I'm using the pry tool that they gave me. There we go. There are two Torx, I believe they're T20, so let me go ahead and get a screwdriver for that. Nope, correction, T25. And from what I gather, we should be able to just, yep, pop this out just like so. There are some connectors in the back. I'll show you once I unplug it. I think it's just one. Yeah, there we go. And that's just the one connector that we just push it in, pops right out. We need to get this radio and this little itty bitty screen out. So there are 4 T25s in total, 2 up here, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. And this should just slide out just like so. Yep. We do have connectors in the back. This one pushes down, pops out. This one, there we go. And then on the screen right up here is a little latch, which I think we just slide down or slide forward. Yeah, a little tab, push it down, slide this thing down. This comes out just like so. Delete. Look at all the real estate we have. That's a lot. Well, cool deal. So let's head to the bench. Let's swap out these vents and start putting this radio together. Old one, new one. So we got these little clips right over here, and we're just gonna slowly pry these up. And let's see, how does Ford want us to do this? More than likely, Ford doesn't want you to do this. Oh, yeah, like that. Okay. So pull these back and push this up. And now we have our vent. All right, same thing over here. I think I could just do this with my nail. Okay. On the other side, we might need the tool because I can't get in there. There we go. Look at that. Cool deal. All done. So let's pop this away. Let's get this new one in. Now, I took a look at the old one, and this piece over here is different from the one that it came with. So we're gonna have to swap it over, and that's the other plate that they give us, which is right over here. Now we have 2, 3, 4 Phillips screws. We're gonna use the screwdriver that they gave us. So I think it's nice that they gave you that screwdriver. All right. Now we're gonna take the new one and attach it just like so. We'll just get them loosely started. That's the way we make sure everything is aligned. We're not forcing anything. Don't want to strip or break anything. You just never know. Always play it safe. Now for our vent, we're just going to go ahead and just kind of clean it up a little bit, dust it out. Now we're going to slide it in just like so. Snaps in really good, like factory. So that's impressive. Nice and secure, and that definitely looks good and factory. So now we need to plug in our connectors. So the first one is going to be this one. Nice clicks. Plug in our antenna adapter, which goes right in here. Okay. Now taking a look at the instructions, it looks like the camera input, let's see if I can line it up. Yeah. Camera input, which is this one, is going to go right over here on the side. This one's for our USB. So it gives us 2 USBs. They're different. One is a 6-pin, one is a 4-pin. We're going to go with the 6-pin. Pop that in. That goes right next to the camera. All right, that's snapped in. And then it says, if your car need CAN bus, please need use cable, connect this port. Not sure what that means, and not sure which one is the CAN bus, but we're just going to go with the fact that this is actually attached to this, which is the CAN bus. So my assumption is going to be that this one goes right here. Yep, it definitely does. So if you look at it, there's another one right over here where my thumb is, and this connector does not fit into there. These should pop in and click in smooth, and if you try to pop this in here, which would make the wiring a little tighter than what it needs to be, yeah, it doesn't fit. So that's pretty awesome that you can't mix that up. And that's what I say about these radios. Sometimes the instructions are not always that clear. It's okay, but at least in this case, they made sure that you can't pop in the wrong connector in the wrong place. So that is pretty awesome. Now there is this orange connector right over here, and this is why I say I'm glad you can't mix this up, because it's also a 2, 4, 6, 8. It's also an 8-pin like this one is and this one is, but because these things are just keyed differently with the plastic, you can't mix them up. This one says key 1 illumination, so I'm going to say that it's safe to say that this goes here. It does. Alright. Now, we do have this, which this looks like it should be for the fan, which is going to be important because it's a computer. We need to cool this thing down. So now, this connector right over here, this is for our fan, negative and positive. You do need to plug that in, because these do get hot, and that's any and all radios, even factory OEM ones and some of the more different brands. You got to make sure this thing stays cool. So this right over here, which you need anyways because it has the microphone input, goes plugged in right over here. All right. And we're going to take this connector just like so, pop it in right there. Perfect. We'll plug in the microphone in just a little bit. So this would be for our radio, which it looks like we'll probably only end up using one of them. This is for our GPS, which we'll mount that. We'll have to find a spot inside the car. And this is probably that chime, which is going to go right in here. And that should be everything that we need plugged in. So back in the car, and we need to run the microphone. And this is where I find that a lot of people just don't do it right. They take the microphone, they'll mount it on the steering wheel, they'll kind of dangle it over here. On my 2008 Tundra, it was just dangling outside the vent. Spend a little extra time and effort, and it will look a lot better. I like to mount them right over here on the pillar. This one just pries out, and then you just got to kind of push this off right over here. This kind of keeps it from flying in your face when the airbag deploys, so kind of keep that in mind. And what that's going to allow me to do is run the cable right up through here and mount the clip right there. It looks a lot cleaner, and as the driver, when you're talking, they're able to hear you a lot clearer. But to get it through there, we got to run it behind the cluster. So now the cluster is pretty simple. This mounts right over here. Pop this off. Be careful with this cloth that covers it. There's 2 bolts right over here. There's a T25, one over here, one on the other side. And it's a little tight. It's a little tight, but you're able to pop it out and get this connector off. Now this connector, you just got to push down on this little tab right over here and slide this lever over, and it comes right out. Not too bad, but definitely not as much room as other vehicles. And the thought is that we run the wire from here to here through the back of the radio, and that's how we're going to feed it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll show you how it comes out. So this is going to be tricky. There's really not a lot of room to kind of get the cable through there. I mean, you really can't feed your hand through there. So I came up with this idea. I have an old metal coat hanger that I kind of bent and fed through, got it up here and taped it to the cable. So now my thought is to kind of see if there's enough room and see if I could feed it through just like that. I'm already getting stuck on something. So that's the plan. And with a little gentle persuasion, we got her. All right. Now I'm going to keep this thing attached and feed it through here. Maybe. Not a lot of room there either. And let's see if we can get it through there. It's a lot easier when you have 2 hands, but I think we can do it. Yeah, just like that. So the biggest challenge is that, but if you take this off and gently with a coat hanger, you can get it through there. So that works. So now I'm going to go ahead, get this thing mounted, put this thing back together, and then we should start assembling this. So the reverse cam, this is not going to work. Not saying it doesn't work, but it's not going to work for this application. We can make it work, but I'm not going to like the look of it, and I don't like what I'm going to have to do to make it work. So hear me out. This is the trunk release button. We can't mount it here because, well, that's a button, so that wouldn't work. The other option would be to drill this over here, and I'm not going to do that. And even if we got the one that went for the license plate bracket, we'd still have to drill here to get the wires to work, or just kind of sneak the wires in. That's just going to look horrible. I did look on Amazon, and I'll probably consider this later on, but they actually do sell the trunk release button with the built-in camera. That is going to be the way to go. They're about 30-40 bucks. I do want to do a little more research to see which one is the best one, because there are some ones where it just looks straight down, poor quality. So we're going to skip that for now. We're still going to put this thing together. But as far as the reverse cam, if you're buying this radio and you want to install the reverse cam, definitely consider a more factory aftermarket option, in the sense that it keeps the button, it kind of keeps the wires looking, it keeps the button, it keeps you from having to drill, and it just looks more OEM. Kind of like what I did with my truck with the tailgate. So we are going to skip that. But we're going to put this car back together, fire up the radio, and definitely check it out. Well, there we go. Now that we're put back together, gauge cluster is in place, now we can install the radio. Now, I just kind of want to loosely hook it up together, you know, just to kind of see what happens and what doesn't happen. Now, we still have a bunch of stuff we need to tuck in, but let's see what happens. Now this first part usually takes a few minutes just because it's got to load and everything, but after it does this, it doesn't take this long to boot up. All right, so far so good. Okay, that's awesome. The factory radio buttons work. Okay, radio works. That's good. So it's put back together, and this thing looks fantastic. I mean, it really looks like an OEM premium feature that would have came from the factory. The contour matches the dash. The colors of the finish just really match and blend really well. This thing looks fantastic. The 10-inch screen is nice, very responsive and bright, and the features on this, amazing. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with how this thing works. So first things first is, once you get this thing set up and installed in your car, you need to go to the Bluetooth, pair your phone to it, and once you pair your phone to it, that's it. You're done. You don't need to plug this thing into USB or anything like that. This thing takes full advantage of your phone, and you're able to load the GPS and all those features flawlessly. So once you have this thing paired, you can go right over here, swipe right, and the app that it uses is the Z-Link 5. Now this, once it detects your phone and gets set up, is automatically going to open, but in the event that you're out of that app, you can go ahead and hit the app Z-Link 5, and there you go. Your GPS navigation's back up. I got my Spotify right over here, temperatures, put in your address, and you're good to go. And I think that's one of the cooler features that I like, is that you don't have to plug it in to get all these. On some of the older, more common radios that I've used that have this feature, you have to plug it in with the USB, which is cool because it keeps you charging, but in the same sense, sometimes you just want to jump in the vehicle and go, not worry about that. This thing just loads it up. Now it does have the hands-free calling. I have the microphone set up right over here. Sounds nice and clear, very responsive, no issues there, and the audio sounds great inside the car. Now to kind of go over just some of the apps, and I've done more in depth in another video that I've done. Swipe up, hit the home button, and there you go. The miles per hour does match your speed, so I mean, now you can actually see how fast you're going. You can actually change the type of vehicle and all that type of stuff in different settings. If you swipe to the right, these are the apps that it comes with: Google Chrome, the Play Store, Maps, YouTube, car settings, DSP if you want to change the type of sound that you have, the EQ, surround. Now the loudness, if you enable the loudness on this, I don't recommend it. It sounds a little bit muddy, but one thing I will say, this factory, The factory sound system, since I've had this car from day one, has been terrible. Popping in this radio, it sounds amazing. So it's a real nice upgrade. Now to get back out of here, press the home button, swipe to the right. Looking at some of the other apps, this is the Z-Link support if you want to get more information on it. APK to install non-certified apps. I don't really recommend that. And if you don't want to listen to the Bluetooth for the apps on your phone, you can go to the radio, hit the radio button, use the radio over there, adjust it just as you need, little by little, save it. I mean, the radio on this thing is fantastic. And what was really cool is the minute that we installed it, we didn't have to do any special calibrations or anything. The factory steering wheel controls just worked flawlessly with no issues. And on this car, if you press the M button, it allows you to switch between Bluetooth, A2DP, not sure what that is, the music that you could install on it, the videos if you wanted to watch videos on this, audio, video in if you had an external device. So really cool, simple. And one final thing, I think that's it. I mean, YouTube and all that type of stuff. I mean, the possibilities are really endless with this. Now moving down over here, this is if you want to go straight to the navigation menu, just the back button. I just like using the screen. It's a lot easier to use. Factory finish. I mean, for the price that these things cost and the way they look at it, these things range anywhere from $150 to $300. They're really worth it, in my opinion, the fact that you don't have to cut and splice. So I highly recommend it. If you have a Ford Focus 2012 to 2017, I'll post links down in the description. You can definitely check it out. I installed one like this on my Toyota Tundra. It looks amazing. I'll post a link to that video if you're interested in the Tundra. Pretty cool, simple. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see what other mods we can do to my vehicle.